Hello everybody and welcome back to a new video here today for some iRacing official races for the first time in a while. We're here today in the Formula 3 car around Road America, so my favorite car on the iRacing service around one of my favorite tracks. So really looking forward to this once I saw it in the schedule at the start of the season, and luckily I was around to be able to do a couple of races, and this one was a very good one, as were all of them that I did during this week, but this was the best of the bunch. So looking at qualifying the results here, a very close session with myself in P3, just 6 thousandths off pole position, with P1 and P2 setting the exact same time, and then the top five separated by just a tenth of a second. So if that was anything to go by, you could say that's going to be a very close race, and I can tell you now that close doesn't even describe what happened in this one. So make sure you stick around until the very end to see all the action that kicks off. But heading to the start here now from P3 on the right hand side inside turn 1. The lights go out and we get a really good start. We get the jump on P1 and P2. We're in the middle and bit of contact here, pinballing around. And with that I decide to just lift off a small bit and back out before we get into turn 1. You can't win the race at turn 1, but going 3 wide and being in the middle is a quick way that you end up being out of the race before you even really started. Down the hill then into turn 3, everybody kind of fitting into line, single file. After a hectic start already in the first couple hundred metres from when the lights went out, starting to calm down a bit already as we now plunge down the hill into this downhill left-hander. I think this is turn 4 and not really too sure what way the corners are numbered around here, because there's some corners count as corners when they're not really corners, as in turn 2 specifically. I don't even know where the corner is around there. Anyway, I'm not in charge of corner numbers around Road America, so just have to make do with what it is. Coming in now to one of my favourite corners on the track, the carousel, very close to flat out in these cars, but you do need a little bit of a lift, just so you can get on the power as soon as you can for this run down through the kink. This right-hander here, easily flat out, and then the run down into Canada corner, which I will say now is probably one of, it's not one of, it is my weakest corner and my least favourite corner on this track. This one up here, just sometimes I get it right and I nail it, sometimes I can lose 2 or 3 tenths the cars around me. Just very inconsistent there. And then just shortly after that, the final corner is definitely my second least favourite corner on the track. Very tricky one to get right, and if you run even half a millimetre too wide nearly on the exit, you're going to end up spinning out. Anyway, we managed to survive it on this occasion, and we managed to survive the whole of lap 1, and we're still well within the slipstream of the 2 cars ahead. I kind of felt like it was a bit quicker at this stage. You could see there I didn't really take my best line through turn 1, and felt like I was getting checked up a bit. So coming out of turn 3 here now, I decided that if I get a run on Marco ahead of me in the yellow and green car, I was going to try and get the move into P2, maybe try and get up into the lead in this one. So into the slipstream then, pretty close to Marco, who was close to Eric up ahead, and that meant he wasn't able to break his lane and I was going to be able to with clear track ahead of me, and managed to get that move done up into P2. As Marco, he kind of backed out of that, and I think he might have backed out a bit too much because he's after losing a couple of more positions there. That's not for me to worry about. My main target now is sticking with Eric and staying with his slipstream, and hopefully just trying to pull away from those behind so we can have a battle ourselves further away towards the end of this race. But on the exit of the carousel now, we're after losing a couple of tenths, and we're just outside of slipstream range, and that's going to be made even worse here into turn 4. I turn in a bit too early and I really clatter that curb, and it ruins my run out. There's a lot of time, and that allows Jose Lopez, just want to call him Jose, to get the move done on me into turn 5. He was kind of catching up on me, and he was in that 4 to 5 tenth range. So I feel like he has a bit of pace, and I dropped out of the slipstream of Eric. So now hopefully Jose can use his pace, and I can stay within his slipstream, and he can drag me along up into the battle for the win here. But on the exit of the carousel into the kink, I'm going to forward it on a bit now, and we're about 7 tenths behind, and on the exit of the final corner onto the back straight, we're just teetering around that slipstream range of about 7 tenths. Then on the exit of turn 3, we're after losing a bit more time, we're just about a second behind Jose, and we're not in slipstream range unfortunately, as Marco is now after catching back up to us a bit, and he's just as close to as we are. We skip ahead then onto lap 10. Not really too much happened for a couple of laps. The two guys ahead pulled away a bit, and they're together now. And they managed to get past Eric in front of me now, who is a lap car. He doesn't seem to want to make it too easy for me. He gives me a nice slipstream, but that seems to have caught me out a bit into kind of the corner, and just carry a bit too much speed there and get the line wrong, so I'll lose a bit of time. But what this is going to mean now is that on the main straight, that Marco, who I am in a battle with for position, is going to get a really nice tow from that lap car, going to gain a load of time on me into turn 1. So didn't really work out the best for me there, but I think that lap car did actually make P1 and P2 come a bit closer, as now we skip on to later on lap 11. You can see that the fight for the lead has begun, and they're going side by side through these couple of corners, which definitely isn't ideal for them, but it's more than perfect for me. As you can see, you're just gaining so much time on these two, and now we're within a second of Jose. And if they keep battling like this, we're going to be within slipstream range by the time that we get to the back straight. Going to stay on board now for the rest of this race, because it does get very interesting. So if I don't talk for a while, just enjoy what is happening on the screen, and just don't really have too much to say about it, and just taking a little bit of a break. But on the run down the back straight into the Canada corner now, we haven't really got into the slipstream range just yet. But Jose has a bit of a look on Eric into Canada corner, and Eric has a bit of a slide there on the exit, so hopefully we can try and gain a bit now. But speaking of gaining, Marco behind is a lot closer to me than I am to the two ahead, as Jose has a bit of a look there into the final corner, and we managed to gain a couple of tenths there. We're now 6 tenths behind, and we were in slipstream range. So now we can just sit behind, hopefully. These two battling can just keep us in touch, and we can just take advantage of all the lovely slipstream and it's just speed down the big long straights around this track. 3 very long straights that slipstream is very vital on. Make up as much time as you can. Out of turn 3 now. This was somewhere where I didn't feel like I was very strong compared to the cars around me, but I wasn't too bad, and I can get it right. It's just, again, not very consistent. It's down into turn 4 now. Holds it down the inside of Eric, runs it too deep, and Eric gets a switch back and gets the move back into the lead. So great racecraft there from Eric to get that one back. Seeing that Jose was going in a bit too deep, just allowing for that, getting the switchback move up the hill into turn 5. Now we drop down the hill. Going for it again is Jose. It's not really somewhere I would have expected to move, and I was kind of going to try and go for a switchback on Eric there, thinking he was going to be pushed down a bit wide. Didn't work out for me, unfortunately, on this occasion. We were well in this fight now, a 4-car fight for the lead. Sorry, just tripping over my words a bit here now as the weaving on the straights begins. Eric looking for a move once again. Jose with the inside line. Does he manage to hold it? He does, as Eric goes off the track. Jose gets a big snap. We're now 3 wide, I think, into the second to last corner. No, we were 2 wide. Eric lost a lot more time there than I had thought. But we managed to make up 2 places now, and as we start lap 13, the second to last lap, we are in the lead of this race. But Marco managed to get past those two cars as well, and he is still in our slipstream range. So I decided that I was going to not fight this, let Marco have the lead, and I was going to use the slipstream on the next straight out of turn 2 to try and get back past, and then hopefully on the final lap we can just repeat the exact same thing. Just let Marco take the lead into turn 1, and then we can fight it back again into turn 4. So out of turn 3 then, well within slipstream range. Marco obviously no slipstream ahead of him, so just going to gain a lot more speed here. I feel like I've started to be a lot more aggressive in races lately, and a couple of weeks or months ago I wouldn't have gone for that move down into turn 4, down the inside. We get the move done, back up into the lead. And now Jose and Marco, they were having a bit of a fight there. Jose is after getting the move done, and at this point I was just really hoping that they would keep fighting and I would be able to pull a gap big enough that they weren't able to slipstream me and fight me on the final lap, and I would be able to just take a nice easy win. But unfortunately that's not going to be the case, as out of the carousel Jose behind is within slipstream range, 6 tenths behind, so I don't think he's going to be close enough that we're going to have to worry about him into Canada corner. And we're just going to have to try and focus on the final turn and get a good run on the pit straight. So into Canada corner then, getting this, I thought I was going to get it right there, but get a big snap on the exit, and Jose is right behind us now. I was really hoping he wasn't going to go for a move into the final corner, but he shows his nose, which in my opinion was a bit of a stupid move. If he had just stuck behind me there, he could just use the slipstream to get me down into turn 1. Because he tried to make the move into the final corner, he is now stuck behind me. He's trying to make it 3 wide as I'm side by side with Marco, and I want to try and let Marco through here, but I felt like if I backed off too much, Jose was going to get a move done, and I didn't want to be in P3. I want to be either in first or ideally in second, so I have to keep the lead here, and now I'm the one that's going to be slipstreamed down into turn 4. Trying to weave now to break the toe as much as I can. I saw how much better the inside line was on the last lap, so I decided to defend the inside line on Marco to try and hold the lead here. Through turn 4 we don't really get far enough ahead that we're able to cut him off on the exit, and we're still on the inside through here, but I think the outside line was better on that corner to be able to carry the speed, and then I decided to just let him in front of me so that I can have the slipstream on the back straight for the final real overtaking place into the Canada corner. On the exit before the carousel here, he has a really bad exit, and I don't know if he was trying to let me go there so he could have the slipstream, or just try and back me up so I wouldn't get a run, but I managed to not run into the back of him and in the slipstream, just pulling out the slipstream before the kink because I didn't want to get too close, as now we're well in the slipstream. The time it just perfectly, or it just works out for me that I get to be inside going down into the Canada corner. As I said earlier, it wasn't my most confident corner as I locked the rears a little bit on braking. I'm not able to get the move done. Now into the second last corner I get squeezed by Marco, which I felt like it was a bit of a dirty move. Get overtaken by 2 cars here. Then into the final corner, Jose goes for a move on Marco. They both crash. Jose gets checked up, as does the car ahead of me. Stefan comes out of nowhere. Greg also comes out of nowhere, and they both get a much better. Greg gets a much better run than I do. Stefan is going to take the win. I get third, and that was a very chaotic end to that race. So a lot happened there at the end. So looking at a replay, you can see here, Marco, I felt like he just pushed me off the track there, and that meant that Jose got past me, as did Stefan in the black car. And then into the final turn, Jose going for broke, diving it down the inside, way too late I think. Hits Marco off, he goes for a spin, Stefan checks up, as do I, and that meant that Greg here on the right hand side, he didn't have to check up, got a much better run than the two of us. If I'd noticed that soon enough, I could have possibly turned to the right and kind of blocked him, and meant he would have had to check up too and not got good of a run. But luckily we managed to survive that. come home in P3, which at the start of lap 10, I would have took P3 because it's where I was and I was a good distance behind the two ahead of me. So in the end, could have won that, could have also crashed out of that and kind of finished up where I probably deserved. And most of all, most importantly of all, when we got pushed off at the second to last corner, Marco got his instant karma. But that's it for this video. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. But until the next one, thanks for watching. See you then.